everybody. Welcome back to East Texas A&M. It's time for another episode of Inside Line Athletics. We've gone to the big studio today. Got George Pincock to start with me. Coach, y'all got right out of the gate and started setting records in, the very first indoor meet of the season?
Yeah, just really excited. It's my first time going down to College Station as a team here, and to go there and see a handful of kids set school records was a really good way to start the year for us.
Did you have the just kind of a neutral lion kind of uniform for them to wear?
Just blue circle, yellow lion head.
Man.
So keep it simple.
Yeah, keep it simple. Well, when they run around that fast or jump that high, you got to watch.
Yeah, no, it was a good meet for us.
Well, 3 school records, I would say that's a pretty good start. Talk about your student athletes that are already tearing up the book.
Yeah, so, started for the morning started with us, women's high jump, Veronica Kramarenko, actually tied at 178. And kind of typically this early in the season, most people will just take the tie, and if you went back through their series, they were still tied. The official came over, was talking to the 2 young ladies, and she said, "I didn't come here to tie." So they went to a jump off, and she cleared 175 in the jump off to take the title. So and the school record. So
that's
kind of
outstanding.
Cool way.
And the school record by how much? I mean, it gets little bitty pieces.
I think 3 centimeters.
Wow.
So a little over an inch.
Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, 2.54. Yeah, still. Yeah. I can jump that high. Not that high.
On a good day.
There we go.
Day. You got to have a good day to get that last 3 centimeters.
All right, man. So there's one record. Yep. How about the next?
Two in the 300, an event that's not commonly run, but early in the season you see it. Enoch Fosuhine, he's been with us for a full year now, and have some big expectations for him this year. But just excited to see him get on the track, and just, I didn't try to put any pressure on him. Just told him, hey, run what I think you can, and we'll be in a good spot. So he broke a record, Jude Christine, from just a little over 6 years ago. So really excited for him, his first kind of test of his real fitness after being with us for a full year. And then on the women's side, Kiara Brown, a name that's well known around here.
Indeed.
Just, last year had a really good season, started the season up, beating her own school record that she set last year. So
wow.
Indication of where we're at. I think we're
now
trending the right way.
For people that don't follow, they know track and field, but they don't follow the indoor disciplines quite so much. Yeah. When you say the 300, you're talking about 300-meter hurdles. You're talking about just a flat-out 300 oval.
Yep. Just 1.5 laps inside.
1.5. Okay, thank you. There we go.
Kind of awkward, but, again, I think early in the season you see some of that, more so just to kind of gauge fitness. And kind of deviate a little bit from the standard. And again, you might not be really race ready for that 400 meters yet. So you bring it down to a 300 meters, kind of do the similar thing for the 400 or the 800. Either you kind of move up to the 6 or you move down from the 8 to the 600.
Okay. Well, very interesting. And bank tracks, are they banked a little bit, or?
Oh yeah.
Or is it totally flat oval?
No, it kind of depends where you go. A&M, College Station's a bank track. We head up to Oklahoma this weekend. It's a flat 200-meter track. So we expect some things to be different. It's a lot harder to run on the flat oval than it is the bank. So we kind of split some kids up, put them in different events to focus on some other things, just because we know on a flat oval you can't be as fast. It's really, really difficult.
I never got to run on a bank track. I always thought the running the curves, so the 200 and the 300 hurdles were my favorite races, because you got to lean in there a little bit.
Yeah, I've seen a 400-meter hurdles indoor. Again, one of those events that's not very common, but the kids, they do like the bank. A little nervous about it the first time, but once they get on it and run on it, they're like, yeah, this is something we can do.
Now, it's not like 45 degrees. It's nothing insane like that. But how steep of an angle is it on the curves?
So if I was to be outside the track and stand at the peak of the apex, most indoor tracks would be kind of shoulder level to eye height. So that kind of gives you an idea from ground level to that outside lane how much higher they are. So it's a decent bank.
And how many lanes? Six or eight?
Six.
6 lanes. Okay. So yeah, that's a pretty good angle.
Oh yeah. I mean, you know it when you're on it. You can feel it. And
sure.
You don't feel it as much while you're running, but you feel it.
All right. So what's up next? It doesn't stop with just that first meet.
No. Like I said, we'll head up to Norman this weekend. Hopefully get some good things done, and then we got a little training break in between, and we head to Texas Tech at the end of the month. We'll split the team, between Texas Tech and Houston. And really at that point, we start kind of honing in on some of those events that we look to be competing in late in February, March at our Southland Conference Championship.
Very good. So when you go to Norman, is it going to be pretty much the same people running the same events, or are you going to mix some of them up a little bit?
We'll mix them up. For example, Enoch and Kiara ran the 300 last week. We're going to bring them all the way down, and they'll run a 60-meter dash this week.
Okay.
So just different things, and again, not so much about what the mark is in the race. It's more of kind of a competitive training environment for us this week, giving people opportunities just to be in that environment and continue to train.
Is that first big opportunity for them as far as a championship level? It's going to be the conference meet, right?
Yeah.
And they can't go anywhere beyond that just yet. We've got enough that transformation thing hits everybody.
We're that close. We're ready for it, though.
All right.
We've been planning, and if we feel confident that when the time comes, we'll be ready to go.
All right. Well, y'all go storming into Norman and come back with some more records.
Thanks, Charlie.
All right. Lines up, everybody. That's George Pincock, Lion Track. 3 records at the first meet they set. What a good time it is. Stick around a few minutes. We'll be back with Jim Curry right after this. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Inside Lion Athletics. Charlie Chitwood here with you. We had the fast guys and girls.
That's not me.
Their coach.
That's not me.
And Georgie was on here earlier, but now we got the coach of all coaches.
Oh, man.
Jim Curry, athletic director here, fresh off the plane.
Fresh off the plane, that's
from
right.
The NCAA conventions and busy week signing stuff with a new apparel partner.
Yeah.
Want to talk about any of that?
Yeah, we'd love to talk about that.
Where do you want to start?
Sure. Yeah,
convention or apparel?
We'll go chronological. We'll start it with the Nike announcement earlier in the week, and just great energy, right? And such a testament to where this university's going, and other people seeing it and buying into it and investing in it. Frankly, I'd probably be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the partnership with Under Armour in Game 1. They've been good partners for us. And, when we did that deal prior to my arrival with Under Armour, it was an excellent Division II deal.
Yes.
Right. Now, obviously, different environment with Division I. I do think the reclassification opened up some opportunity to go kind of back out to market. They were certainly a part of it as well. But, again, this is nothing against them. They were good. They've been good partners. They continue to be good partners. But I think we were pleasantly surprised. Although I think we knew it was possible, but pleasantly surprised at the response we got from the marketplace, and in particular, in this case, Nike. Just the fact alone that we're going to be the only Southland Conference school that's a Nike partner. But then when you look at who's coming on board next year with Nike, right now, I think they're only adding 5 or 6 schools next year, and we're the only Division I FCS school that they're adding next year.
Nice.
So I think it says a lot about where we're positioning ourselves as a university and an athletics department. But I think they also see the energy and momentum, the growth around the university and athletics, and not to mention, that deal we're getting. The valuation on it is 3.5 times more annually than what we're getting right now.
Get out of here.
So, it's a significant investment that they're making in Lion Athletics and the university overall. So, couldn't be more excited about it. I think we saw the pop and the energy. We're feeling it from the response that people have given us. And now we're actually in the uniform design phase too. So I've been working with them in football what some of these new uniforms will look like too. So it's fun. It's a lot of work, but it took a long time to get there with this deal. But really, really pleased at where it ended up, and I think we've got great partners with Nike and BSN as we go into this next era.
You know, I know this is something we've talked about ever since y'all took the phone call, but is there a way to, like, fast forward from who called you in the first place? Was it somebody from BSN and said, hey, Nike wants to talk?
Yeah, so, you know, again, we were in the partnership with, and still are through the rest of the year, with Game One and Under Armour. And I think when we transitioned, and then we had a leadership transition as well, obviously me coming in the door, you know, back in that spring, I think it just opened up, you know, I think, well, one, and I think also, two, people seeing what we were doing, transition to D1. I think it opened up an opportunity for people to reach out and just see where we were at with things. And inclusive of Under Armour and Game One as well.
Sure.
So, and we had really, really good conversations about it. I'll be honest with you, it wasn't just there. I mean, it was every vendor across the board, including new ones in the space.
Okay.
That had an interest in exploring this RFP with us. So I think that, again, says a lot about where we're at and where we're going. And so when we talk about kind of proof of concept with this Division I thing, and then we see the energy, the interest, the excitement, and then the outcome at the end, I think it validates it even further. So I did have some outreach from some folks. I was very transparent with our current partners about the outreach that was coming in. Candidly, I didn't even know where we sat in that marketplace overall and how people viewed us when these calls started. And honestly, I didn't really even, you know, respond quickly out the gate because I knew we were in our current agreement. But as it continued to kind of start and the conversations kind of picked up and there was a little bit more bandwidth, I started to realize that, yeah, we've got interest from our current partner, but we've got interest from other partners as well. And so the best avenue of approach would be to go back out to market and see what the market would tell for us. So that was really kind of the process. I can't remember who called first. They definitely called us. But really it was me. At first, I told you I wasn't really sure where to go with that. But as it kind of kept picking up steam and we had some momentum and energy going, it became very clear that going back to market was the right move, which we did.
So when you did that, and the people that sell apparel, they got a map out and found commerce, and then they saw the Metroplex, and they saw how many people tied to the university from the Metroplex.
Our geography is a comparative advantage, and I continue to say that with everything we do. Everything, not just apparel. It's everything we do. Recruiting, the long-term growth and trajectory of the athletics department, football, TV markets, conferences. I mean, the university as a whole. You know, we've seen what's happening with our ability to, be first in front of mind in Northeast Texas. What we've been able to do to tap into DFW. What we've been able to do to tap in outside of the state of Texas. I mean, when you look at our student-athlete population in particular, we've got a fair number of student-athletes, I think 30% maybe, that are outside the state of Texas. Internationally, obviously, the proximity to Dallas. So we've really, when you look at our student makeup, but then also our student-athlete makeup, you see that kind of melting pot of students from everywhere. And then when you combine that with the growth fundamentals, the growth of the university, the growth that's going on in this region, and then student growth, and then you look at what we're doing from a Division I athletics perspective and the market position we have, being the only Division I from Shreveport west to Dallas, north to Norman, Oklahoma, south to Nacogdoches. That's about the size of the state of West Virginia.
Yes, really.
And it's got about 6+ million people in it, which would be good for like the 22nd biggest state in the country. So, I mean, if we're the state of East Texas, right, which might not be a bad phrase to use, right? If we're the state of East Texas, we got good fundamentals.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And shade.
And a little bit of shade.
Yeah. Come further east. We've got that,
doesn't mean it's not hot, though.
Wow, that's a lot to take in, but it's so cool. And Nike starts June 1.
June 1, that's right. Yep. June 1.
Garage sale coming in May.
Yeah, right? So actually, this timed up well relative to, the name change as well. Because, it gives us, we would, regardless of what happened with vendor, we were going to have to reset uniforms already.
Everything.
So timing-wise, this actually, it saves a significant amount of money for the university on the name change side of things relative to uniforms, because we've got some upfront cash coming in to help with offsetting transition from new partnership. And so, not entirely, but a significant portion of it. And so, but we would have had to do that anyway without any of that transition cash coming in from a new partner.
Well, there was a little
really well.
There was a little bit coming from the mothership, though, because new letterhead and all that's got to change.
Sure.
So the uniforms.
And again, that in the aggregate, that gives more flexibility and bandwidth for use across campus and academic departments and things like that, when we can help offset that with a new partnership that's 3.5x. So
go D1. It's fun. It's a lot of work, too. All right. So part of your week, NCAA Convention. You just got back.
Yeah, so that was Monday. I left Tuesday. Got back late last night, rolled in the office this morning, already been in a couple meetings, got to go to another one here in a minute. And so, probably two big items that were front of mind during convention. One is just kind of the overall landscape of things, right, relative to the settlements. And we talk about the House case a lot, and I think that actually becomes a little bit of a used probably overly broad. Because there's multiple court cases.
There's
a
lot
settled.
Of details that are part of that. It's not.
So I think still getting our heads around all that, we got a pretty good feel for it. And honestly, this question of opt-in, opt-out. Right now we are positioning the university to opt into this. And the reality is too is that we've already started to do some things from a recruitment and retention perspective to be responsive in the event that final approval comes through in April. So, I hope people at home don't think we're just sitting by waiting for stuff to happen. We are trying to create first mover advantages for us to the extent that we can. Now, the more folks coming along with us, jumping in, supporting Lion Athletics, the further we can go with that too. And so, but there's already things happening in that regard. And I think once we get an opportunity to announce the football class and this mid-year class and start to see some of the work that's been going on across all of our sports. I think some of the efforts, some of the investments, some of the intentionality, as we've been trying to be responsive to what's coming, will, I think, become evident. So I'm excited about that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there was another part of that NCAA thing. There's this special class we're a part of.
Oh, yeah.
The transitioning into full-fledged membership, all benefits and rewards of being Division I. Lions have another year after this one, as you've said a few times, 3 more semesters.
3 more semesters,
but maybe just one.
But maybe, right. And so
What's
that
up
was
with
a big
that?
takeaway. So I think the big headline coming out of it was the women's basketball distribution to match what the men are doing on the tournament side. So a pretty monumental day in the history of NCAA. It's been a discussion point for many, many, many years. And so kind of a big step forward, I think, that captured the headlines. But for 9 schools in Division I right now that are in the reclass process, I think the big takeaway was modifications to the reclass process that were approved by the council, and what that may mean for those that are currently in the process, like East Texas.
Did they take some steps out? Did they change some steps?
No, they didn't take steps out. There's actually more, and there's a little bit more quantitative and qualitative metrics that are now part of that assessment. But in the event that you can do that, it will shorten your process from 4 years to 3. Now, because we're in the middle of the process right now, we still have to. Now, I should back up for a second. We still don't have all the final details of the approved language. We're working on getting that. They met as a committee. They tweak some things. They make the decision. Usually the press release gets out ahead of all the formalities, right? So
Great.
we're waiting on the detail there. We had a general idea that something was going to happen there following a meeting in November, but we weren't sure exactly. So we have a general idea. But all that to say, because we're so far in the process right now, there may actually be an advantage to finishing the current process as opposed to trying to truncate it. It will all just depend on what the detail is. So we're going to evaluate it very, very deeply. And if we think it's the right move for us, then we'll see if we can execute that and get it done and maybe be done by the summer.
So you got to meet some of your fellow classmates, Longwood, Queens, Stone.
Yeah. So
how are they coming along? How are we comparing to them?
A lot of them are in the same boat, trying to figure out what that can look like. And ironically enough, the woman who's the SWA at Southern Indiana, who's in our cohort here,
right?
I hired her as an intern at Maryland like 20 years ago.
Oh, boy.
So we've stayed in touch.
Old school ties.
Got a lot of connections there, right? So it's been good to kind of bounce some things off some other folks that are there. We know some. I do think we're pretty confident in that there will be a couple schools that will make the move shorter. They'll do it. I'm talking with them, and they're still assessing things. There's other schools that are in the process still assessing things, and so again, the devil's in the detail. The details are still getting ironed. We'll get the details here soon, and then we'll evaluate for ourselves. But I mean, exciting that there's that opportunity. And again, we've made good progression along. We're probably in the hardest part of it right now with the self-study process. That is taking up a lot of energy and attention from folks all across campus, but it's good work. It's important work for us to best position not just the athletics department, but the university for success long term. So, I like where we're going. I think in terms of academic outcomes, we're seeing it. In terms of the investment from the university and our donors in athletics, it's never been higher. So I like where we're going. And a little bit of the issue, we've again back into the details a little bit. Part of some of the objective metrics that they were considering using have got a lagging indicator dynamic to them. So there's a lot that's happened in 2 years.
Yeah.
That is going to get captured in contemporaneous data, but it's not aggregated and distributed yet. So we got to work through that a little bit with them. Once we kind of understand those details a little bit. So
they would bring a check too, wouldn't they? I mean, not one to you, but
they're not bringing one to us.
The check at the table. Okay, here's your bill.
We're waiting on that check from them. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like I said, the distribution piece that's an important part of some future budgetary planning as well. But
what's the real benefit of East Texas A&M getting out in 3 years instead of 4? What is the real benefit?
It's access to postseason.
Okay.
I think it changes the recruiting conversation.
Yes.
Because we know that there are schools that use that against us in the recruiting process.
Yes.
We know it for a fact. And honestly, I would too if I was them. So
sure.
I ain't mad at them. It just is what it is. Some of the slow pace, on some things has been a byproduct of that.
Okay.
It's not entirely an excuse, but it's a dynamic. There are some that have been a little bit more successful in overcoming that. We see what's going on in soccer, like that. They've been able to push through that. I also think too, you've got some sports where bringing in a young player, having them be a little bit more impactful early on in their career is more viable. In other sports, football physicality is at a different level than really most any other sport, and so it's hard to rely on freshmen and sophomores, particularly at this level, and particularly up front. So, those are just some of the dynamics. But I also think, too, we've got some teams that are really on the cusp, right? We talk about soccer. We talk about women's golf. We talk about track. There's some teams that are ready to push through. And so I think between the combination of now having access to championships and then repositioning the recruiting conversation, I think those are the most immediate impacts of that that we would see and then there's other benefits that come on board in out years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, That's a lot of stuff.
I guess that's why we call this Inside Lion Athletics,
yeah,
right?
man,
we went inside quite a bit there.
There's some great stuff here, and it's just more to come before, we do the last episode sometime in May?
The last
we ought to stop at some point, don't we?
We'll just keep it going. I mean, I'm having fun. I don't know about you,
I
but
love it.
We haven't run out of content yet.
No,
that's for sure.
We haven't even come up with
actually. There's things I think we want to add to this too that we haven't even been able to because we don't have the time.
Better looking host for one.
100.
Hey, I'll tell you what, this has been great, and I'd love to keep going, and I know you could, but he's got to go to more meetings, so we're going to have to give him up for a little bit right now. Jim, thanks so much for all of that. Great stuff. Lions up, everybody. We got a little bit of basketball to talk about when we return, so don't go away. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to some more of Inside Lion Athletics. We got track. We got Jim Curry. Now it's time to talk some basketball. Women playing tonight. They've got a gig against, it is Southeastern Louisiana coming in, the other Lions. And, Coach, fair is fair. Right now, they're with more wins than your Lions. But today's a new day.
That's right, yes. Southeastern's a really good team, leading the league right now. And they're really good offensively and defensively. I think what sets them apart is they play every possession. They play every possession like it's their last on the offensive and defensive end. They're going to get up and guard us on the defensive end. They're super, super aggressive, going to get out and deny. So we're really going to have to be strong with the ball, take care of the ball, and make the right reads tonight.
And of all the players that they may have returning, one that you're going to have probably the most exposure against is Lexi Alexander, who transferred from Nichols over to Southeastern. It wasn't a great long jump distance-wise, but the difference between the two programs, the one she left and where she's gone into, are pretty different.
Yeah, I mean, they were able to get her as a transfer last spring, and obviously a great get for them. But, I think the biggest thing is they brought everybody back as well. Their point guard, their 5-player.
Jalencia Pierre.
Yeah, that's right. And their wing players, and they still have, the bench, a couple of bench players that were there last year. So, their program is, it's been solid for a couple years now with the same players and stuff and building their program that way. So, they're a seasoned team, I would say. They've played a lot of games together. They play well together. They feed off of each other. So, they're just a really good team in the Southland. I mean, even net ranking there, we've got 3 teams in the top 100 just from the Southland this year. So,
this far in, I think everybody caught on maybe a little bit quicker on the men's side that, the Southland's really raised the bar talent-wise. Right. On the women's side, it's almost the same thing, right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, when you're looking at all the rankings and the, their win-loss records this year, Southeastern's up there, SFA's up there, Lamar's up there. I mean, they're all top 100 net rankings right now. And they've all played really good non-conference schedules. So, the Southland has, I mean, it's as good as probably any other mid-major, low-major league in the country right now.
And you've got to try and fight your way through it, and you don't quite have everything that everybody else has with regards to that full-fledged D1 membership.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. We are where we are. And we're moving forward. I don't think that's something that we think about on a daily basis. I think it's, obviously that's our future. But we're grinding. We're in here every day, working to get better, getting our team to prepared and where we need to be.
Okay, well, I was talking to Jim earlier, and he was talking about the advantages of getting into your D1 membership after 3 years. Mm-hmm. And the first thing that makes a big difference is playoffs. Is going for playoffs.
Right.
And he said the impact that has on recruiting.
Yes.
If you knew today that 3 years and out for Lions to get into D1. How much would that impact what you can do recruiting wise?
Yeah, I mean, I think it does impact, because, I mean, people don't want to say it, but, I mean, other schools use it against you, in the recruiting world. So, I think it would be huge for us, and I do. I think it would help us on the recruiting trail, that's for sure, this spring.
So that's one thing, and this is just kind of an aside, but once upon a time in the city of Wichita Falls, during a multi-year drought, they were having problems with their city water supply, and they were going to start recycling what we would call black water on a camper and get it into their drinking water system. And if you think that Lone Star Conference coaches, especially one by the name of Colby Carthel, would see a player that was being heavily recruited by Bill Maskell and some very good Mustang football teams, and he'd say, look, you want to go there and drink toilet water, or do you want to come here and it's got great water, we go fishing, and
you use what you use.
You use
what you have. So that, I mean, I don't blame him.
Recruiting tips with Colby Carthel and Valerie King. All right, so, hey, it's a busy weekend.
That's
Southeastern,
right.
And then Saturday, you're the first of 2 games back-to-back against the University of New Orleans.
Right.
Privateers are, dare we say it, the best 0-14 team in America?
Yeah, I mean, they've played, I mean, I at least 5, 6, 7 teams, really close, including non-conference,
Louisiana Tech was going, who are these girls?
La Tech, Texas Tech, and countless others. So it's, they're a good team. They are quick from the guard position. They've got, their 4/5 player is back from last year, and she's really good. She can play on the perimeter. She can post up. So, they're lethal. They can score it, and they really get up and defend you. So, we have to be ready. First of all, we have to be ready for tonight, but then, be able to flip it over tomorrow and get prepared for New Orleans as well.
If there's film that you watch over and over again with the team, how much of it is the victory over Nichols, watching that? Because you've said it, they've played so much of a complete game in that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just, taking care of what, obviously individually taking care of what they're supposed to take care of, but and that encompasses, playing together as a team, and not taking plays off. I think that's been our biggest thing right now. Nichols, I thought we played and competed 90%, 95% of the game, and that was the reason we were able to win that game. And some of the other ones, I think that we weren't up to that standard. I think, and that's why we've fallen short in the past 2 games. So we've got to get our minds right where, and going back to the Nichols game and, taking those lessons, like we have to be at that level every single day, every single play, every single possession.
Life in the Southland Conference. All right, everybody, health-wise, I know we're running out of time, but everybody's good to go that has been good to go for a while.
Yeah, Nylock is still, going through some stuff with her knees and stuff, but I'm hoping she'll be back next week. That's what we're, hoping for. So she's just in doing some rehab and stuff and just trying to get him to feel a little bit better. So, but, yep, everybody's good to go.
All right. Tonight, it is a 5:30 start, I believe.
6:30.
6:30 start. That's right. It's just one game this evening. And at 6:30, if you're at the field house, you can see it. If you can't get to the field house, you can watch it. And if you can't even watch it, you can always listen to it starting at 6. Folks, that's going to do it for this segment. Coach, thanks for joining us. Good to be back.
Yep, great to see you.
Lines up. Folks, we'll be back. Jaret von Rosenberg coming up next. Hey, everybody, welcome back to Inside Line Athletics. One more segment, but we're saving some more hoops for the last. Jaret von Rosenberg, head coach of your Lion men. They're going to be on the court Saturday and Monday. Coach, that was a quick trip down to a long way away.
Yeah,
Get to see anybody from the old school?
Yeah, I got to see some people that grew up with at the game, after the game for a few minutes. Really an interesting week. Just Northwestern, go the day of the game, dealing with ice. Finally played a good second half. Didn't show up at all in the first half. Played really well second half. and then carried over and went down and played, I think one of our most complete games, especially on the defensive end. A team that really scores basketball, makes threes. We can do better, but we did a pretty good job of shelling up the defense, containing the basketball and not giving them too many uncontested open looks from three or easy baskets at the rim. They helped us out on the free throw line like we talked about, but all in all, that's 3 halves of basketball in a row. And we talked about today is, we got back once we get into conference play, these schedules even mess me up. I don't even know what day it is half the time.
I understand.
But the women are going. We got 2 more preparation days before we play Saturday. So looking forward to get back on the floor, and we trying to find a way to get in the win column.
Coach, talk a little bit about just how close your guys got to that dub on Saturday. And I know everybody's tired of being close to it and you want to get it, but that is as close as they've been in a number of games.
Yeah, you just played well for a long period. We made plenty of mistakes, but, continue to play and play well, play together. So that's why it probably, you have a devastated locker room is because everyone's cheering for everyone's not worried about themselves. They're worried about getting the win and worried about, making one more play and cheering on the team. And you put yourself in position. We led for 36 minutes on the road. I mean, that all those things are positive. But, that record's out there in the stratosphere, and we got to find a way not to worry about that. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's not keeping us from winning. It's not helping us. It's not doing anything. It's there. So we got to look at what the possessions we didn't take back. It didn't play offense very well. Not from bad, just didn't execute and didn't put enough pressure on the defense down there. But can't worry about it. We got to try now to, and New Orleans is not going to be easy, and that's the thing. Like, you look at New Orleans' schedule and look at our schedule, and they mirror each other. They played 6 high majors. They played all Division I games. Like,
they had the 2 highest-ranked opponents of their non-conference like we did. They were the team behind us.
Yeah, so, that's why but they go on the road at Lamar and win. Like, if one thing they're doing a great job of is getting to the free throw line. So we really got, like RGV, that put a lot of pressure on the rim. They're as much or more. We really got to do a good job of keeping them off the foul line, playing without fouling.
One of the things at RGV that was so promising was the start of the game. Your guys got out there and they jumped up, had it double digits even for a couple of minutes. That kind of energy was something you'd been looking for a while. Yeah,
and then we need more guys to come on and play like that. And then that you get 6, 7, 8 guys playing well in stretches, because we're not having anybody playing for 40 minutes, especially the way we're trying to guard. We need multiple guys play well. When it's a 10-point game and we got to get subs in, let's try to extend it. And we didn't do a good job of that down there. But we built 10-point leads twice, which was positive. And now we got to hold it and try to extend that.
Coach, part of the switch-up, part of that early energy was inserting T.J. Thomas and me out, Chris Hadlam, number 4. Those 2 made the starting lineup. For Chris, it was his first collegiate start.
Yeah, no, he come on, really played his most minutes. He played more minutes last Monday than he probably had combined all year, maybe. But he's really starting to figure out how we do things. I look like a genius or not the other side of that, which I'm on radio, our video, so I'm trying to protect myself from saying a word I shouldn't say. But, it's like, why all of a sudden is Chris playing? I give him a lot of credit for being ready when he got his number called at Northwestern. Played really well in that half. And then, played a good, solid basketball game on Monday night. So look for him to obviously keep playing. Hopefully he keeps playing well. And that goes back to the thing is we don't care who plays. We don't care who plays. We want multiple guys playing well. That puts a good product on the floor, and that's what we're trying to do.
So when you have players and young players like that taking the place of more veteran players, there's that risk of somebody not feeling good in the locker room. You don't want to feel good if you lose your starting spot, but that's not the end of the world.
Well, no one feels good. It's like not a single person feels good. The starters, it doesn't matter. None of the coaching staff, none of this feels good. And there are, we're all people too. We're not. I don't think anyone likes being. Everyone wants to play 40 minutes, but these guys are competitors. They're athletes. They all understand. It's sports. Like we're gonna go with guys. Everyone's trying to do well. We don't have a single person that's trying to not do what we ask or not. We're kind of in a rut. We've been in a rut. We just haven't been good offensively, and we're trying to just pull levers and see what works. So, that's why it's important to cheer on your teammates because everyone's been on both sides of it, even this year. Where they weren't playing or they're playing, and it gives no one the right not to be encouraging. You can be frustrated, you can be not agree, all that stuff, but you're part of a team, and the goal of the team is to win every time we step on the floor.
All right, Coach, it's going to be exciting this weekend. You get two of them that you got a shot at Saturday afternoon, 2:15 against UNO. And then Monday evening at 6:30.
1 o'clock.
Oh, excuse me. And we just talked about that. 1 o'clock. It's an afternoon matinee is part of the celebration of Martin Luther King Day. So if you want to come see some hoop, that'll be the time to come get it over lunch.
Yeah, we need the community to show up, university, everybody, students back on campus. So looking forward to that. I give our guys a lot of credit. They show up to work every day even when things aren't going well. So we got 14 games left. We're trying to get in the conference tournament. It's well within reach. A lot of basketball to be played, and hopefully, the last two games are a sign of that we're moving. This team's moving in the right direction, playing better basketball coming down the stretch here in late January, early February.
All right. Well, Sam Walker always told us forever, I want to be better every month.
Yeah.
So you can still get better.
We're working on it.
All right, folks. Jaret von Rosenberg, head coach of your Lion men's basketball. That's going to do it for this edition of Inside Lion Athletics. Appreciate you tuning in, and, hey, we'll see you at the gym tonight.